parts of it is that we did have the original Bionic Commando skin in there for about 3 or 4 seconds. That's your first glimpse that you're going to see it. Basically, when creating character design, we try to keep the fans in mind, but also try and create something a little different as well. But boy, did we not realize the fans were going to be so obsessed with the original skin. So about halfway through the design, we were like, all right, we'll design the original skin. So I went back and talked to one of the original designers of the package art in Japan, a man named Okano-san. He's been with Capcom Japan for about 25 years now. And he was telling me about the original design. He's like, you know what, the actual main character himself was not really a great design, because with the old Nintendo game, we didn't have a lot of colors. And so we were kind of stuck just going with green and red because it really popped out on the Nintendo games in the past. And so he's like, I recommend you don't use this character. And I'm like, yeah, the fans have spoken. So we decided to stick it in there anyways. In case you didn't know, the only way to get that character costume is by owning BCR. Have any of you here got a chance to play BCR yet? Show of hands. What? You guys are killing me. If you don't get a chance to, sometime around next week, maybe Monday or so, there should be an announcement online about it. So please, if any of you own the internet, check it out. It will be good. All right, moving on to the presentation. Here we go, the evolution of a brand, Bionic Commando. Talk about the origins. The game originally was an arcade game. I don't know if many of you got a chance to play that or not, but the thing about the arcade game is, although Bionic Commando is a game known for its swing mechanic, you could not do multiple swings in the arcade game. So a lot of people will constantly ask me, why didn't you consider remaking the arcade game? And the reason is, even though that is the true origin of this brand, I think that personally the being able to do multiple swings is kind of what made the brand as exciting as it is now. So we kind of wanted to focus more on the NES version, which is there off to the right. You can see, besides getting a nice cool green costume and some big black boots, his hair changed from blue to red. I think the red is a big improvement over the blue. Here's a quick example of the package art. Call this the Great Schism, because originally in Japan, the game was based around you fighting Nazis, and the last boss was in fact Hitler. Even though we didn't have the ESRB or any ratings organizations back then, of course Nintendo was not going to allow you to play a game where you were actually fighting Hitler. So they did some quick name changing and called Hitler Master D, which I can only assume means dictator. And so in the end, at the very end of the game, you end up blowing up Master D's head by shooting with a rocket launcher, which is, when you think about it, it would be quite fun to be able to shoot Hitler in the head with a rocket launcher. But nonetheless, back in the day, we were not allowed to do that. But just how deep this theme was in the original game in Japan, you see the package right there on the left-hand side. There was swastikas all over it. You see a gigantic evil Hitler looming in the background with his hands raised, ready to conquer the world. And then even, it's got the traditional Nazi salute there on the left-hand side screen. But in the US, they had to totally change things around, move the swastikas, change them to birds, and of course references to Hitler were, as I mentioned before, changed to Master D. The US box art there, again, I don't know why, but back then they didn't seem to necessarily draw the characters as they were in the game on the package. So you have a man with what looks like a blue tunic and red pants, and he's blonde hair. Again, I guess Bionic Commando's main character has gone from blue to red to blonde hair. He likes to dye his hair a lot. So in trying to bring this game out, first I'm talking about Rearm, which is the homage to the original game. We had to decide where we wanted to pin the brand, where we wanted to sort of focus it on. And one of the things we were concerned about was there would be a lot of people that wanted to be based on the original, the Nazi version. But of course, again, that was not going to be anything we could do. If we couldn't do it in the 80s, we certainly are not going to be able to do it now. Let's just say that. So we decided to pin every single brand, including the Japanese version, onto the US canon. So So that would then be the story that would be going with worldwide. In general, pretty much everything is the same for Rearmed worldwide, it's just in a different language. And the reason why is because we just wanted to stop confusing the gamers. And actually, when I just did a recent interview with a bunch of Japanese magazines, that was one of the questions they brought up was, is Hitler going to be in this? And we said, unfortunately, it's going to be Master D, not Hitler. When it came to revisiting this classic, I'm going to talk about a couple of these, and then I'll have Simon, if you don't mind, talk about what you think was necessary to keep. But we tried to keep the control mechanics the same because they were near perfect right from the start. A lot of people don't naturally get that you need to press the button. Pressing the normal button will make the wire go out to a 45-degree angle. But those were actually very well thought out because by doing that you can do multiple swings much easier because your arm naturally shoots out diagonally looking for the next swing spot in front of you. The other thing is the story mood. We decided with the 3D version that we were going to go with a character, with the main character being more broken. We wanted a dynamic character that was not going to be happy-go-lucky, sort of like a Captain America, very patriotic symbol of the 1980s that he was in the original game. We wanted to have somebody that was more broken, somebody that had doubts, someone who didn't necessarily trust in what his government has decided they were going to do as policy. But for going with Rearmed, we wanted to keep that same 1980s cheese in there. So if any of you did get a chance to play it at the booth, or if you don't, you can go tomorrow, I recommend it. The dialogue is also quite cheesy. Cheesy in a good way, of course. Other things, like Easter eggs. It's one of the things that the development team did a really good job of. Put a lot of classic Capcom symbols. Now, I myself personally am a retro gamer. I've been gaming for about 20-25 years. And so when I see these Capcom symbols, it's really nice to see them. They put in something called the Yashichi, which looks like a pinwheel. It's white and red. And basically that was in Ghosts and Goblins, it was in Bionic Commando. It was in like a lot of different games back then. I think maybe it was in Gunsmoke. But that was the Capcom premier symbol in the 8-bit days. And so we've added that in the game. We've actually taken one of the Mega Man hard hat guys and put him in the game in the background. So every area we could sort of do a little fan service, sort of like to call back to those old games where gaming gets their roots from. We tried to do that in the game because we felt that was important. And then, of course, the music, and I'll let Simon talk about that because he's actually the creative director and also he's done all the music for Rearmed, and he's also doing the music design on the 3D version. Okay, so Simon, you want to come up here and talk about what you think was an area to keep?